Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cindy McAtee. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Goldfinch, and I'll be moderating our discussion today. First of all, I want to thank you all so much for joining our webinar, Level Up Your Employee Being with Wellness AI. We're excited to share how IoTco and Goldfinch have partnered to deploy Wellness AI in a leading automotive manufacturer to not only address the challenges presented by COVID-19, but also to improve employee well-being into the future. Our panelists for today include Mo Abu Ali, Managing Partner at IoTco. Mo has more than 20 years of experience working with manufacturers to drive and sustain change. IoTco helps clients create a competitive advantage through digital transformation. Next, we have Tiag Loganathan, co-founder of Goldfinch and a serial entrepreneur with expertise in data and AI solutions. Goldfinch is a data product and consulting company focused on empowering businesses of any size to leverage their data to deliver executable strategies. And definitely last but not least, we have Sachin Pogle, a technology professional who will show how our automotive clients are using Wellness AI in their plants to keep employees healthy without compromising privacy or productivity. Feel free to submit questions at any time during the presentation via the chat box, and we'll get around to answering those at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, Mo, why don't you get us started?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy. And thank you, Chag and Sachin, for being with us today. Very briefly, for those who don't know IoTco, we're the Internet of Things company, and we partner with manufacturers in a variety of ways. We have an analytics practice that provides a predictive analytics AI solution for the manufacturing space. And within that practice, we have partnered with the Goldfinch Group to take the Wellness AI solution to market. And that'll be our conversation today. But in addition to predictive analytics and Wellness AI, we provide an end-to-end digital transformation offering from the education and the training to the plant floor manufacturing Internet of Things requirements, all the way to the analytics and the implementation. Our DNA is the manufacturing industry, but actually the Wellness AI solution that we'll be showing today is applicable to any industry. We're going to be talking about three things today. I'll kick it off with a motivation for why we have introduced the Wellness AI very successfully, actually, in the market. Tiag will come in to talk about the technology in more detail. We'll give a short demonstration led by Sachin. And we will conclude with a very simple way on how to get you started, actually. We have a very successful case study in the manufacturing space that we'll be using and we'll be demonstrating, actually, during today's call. So let's start. The reality is there is a growing need to keep our factories and our operations running in a smarter and safer way. So regardless of the current situation, looking towards the future, it's important to ensure that manufacturers and operations in general continue running with a maximum level of uptime and with the highest level of safety, okay? What you're seeing here is actually some metrics from the NAM, from the National Association of Manufacturers, that were presented last year. This showing the hit on revenue, employee productivity, and in general workplace safety, which is usually run by OSHA, partnering with NAM. And one of the reasons we introduced Wellness AI to the market is to immediately help mitigate some of these issues and keep operations running smarter and safer during the current situation and also beyond the current situation. So it's all about ROI. Any IoT type of solution is all about return on investment. So we take an ROI-centric approach to any technology that we provide to any client. And when we look specifically at the metrics here, we're talking well-being, we're talking people's safety, we're talking sustaining operations that should continue to be running with the highest level of uptime and the highest level of safety and operation. So these are some metrics that we track together with our clients today, and we ensure that the solution we provide through Wellness AI is helping them to continue improve employee wellness, of course, reduce sick days and infection rates that may occur due to employees potentially getting into a factory and causing maybe unsafe environment for others, and also directly relating to operational improvement metrics Not to mention the increase in sanitization costs, which could actually be mitigated if factories access and are controlled in a smarter and safer way. So an ROI mindset to this is always very important to ensure that technologies are successful and they are justified. These were actually the requirements of a large automotive OEM with which we collaborated on this solution last year, and then growing the collaboration. They were looking for four things, actually. They're looking for self-assessing electronically the employee's health prior to them entering the factory, okay? And there is an app and there is an approach that we do this very quickly without the need for paper, actually. So it will be tracked very efficiently within our solution. Second is they want to make sure that employees' vitals are scanned to allow them to enter the factories and to ensure that safe and healthy people are entering the operation. And again, this needs to be done accurately and quickly and tracked. And number three is compliance also with social distancing measures, right? In some organizations, there is a need, for example, to do contact tracing type of activities, of course, only within the factory or within the operation, and ensuring security and compliance of the data and the analytics. And that's actually number four, also related to that, is contact traceability. So the vision of this OEM was, I want safe and smart employees to enter my operations so I can continue running in a safe and smart way. And I want to implement this quickly, and I want to implement this in an electronic fashion so I could reduce the need to invest in paper and people, right, to do this, which is typically done manually at this time. So convert those needs into the solution. As part of the Wellness AI solution, there is a standard app. And what's an example here is a health assessment tool, actually, which could run on an app or could run on a kiosk, a hardware kiosk. As the employee is entering the facility, questions are asked, screening is conducted of the vital signs like temperature very quickly, and allowing the employee to be safe and healthy entering the manufacturing operation. This is, of course, in addition to alerts and notifications that may need to go to the HR department or the payroll department in case some of that data would be used for paying of salaried or paying of hourly employees, for example. So it's an integrated approach, paperless, that allows safe and smart employees to enter the operation. In addition to that, many organizations have already put in place existing hardware. And solutions we provide do not rip and replace existing hardware. We actually complement and integrate with existing hardware that clients may have already invested in. That includes a kiosk, and you may already have your own kiosk, and we also provide a kiosk, and I'll show you an example of that, in addition to cameras or other devices that may be in the factory today. So it's a fully integrated solution and approach. And that actually takes us to this short video. This is actually in a manufacturing environment where the kiosk is integrated with Wellness AI as a turnkey solution, and it allows facial detection, mass detection, and measurement of vital signs, okay, as required. And then it actually has integration to the turnstile to allow the employee, if passing the health survey questions, passing the vital signs, to quickly enter the factory. And I'm talking seconds, right? Within a few seconds, this information is captured and it allows the employee to quickly enter the operation. If we take this as a full-blown implementation, just to give you an example, the journey of the employee at the access of the facility, the most standard Wellness AI solution, the basic solution, allows that kiosk to take those vital signs and with a thresholding, automatically allow them to enter the factory via the turnstile, for example. And when this happens, send the relevant information to the HR or payroll system. Or in the case where, unfortunately, the employee is not safe or healthy to enter the plant, alerts, are sent to the right individuals so the employee is attended to And then there would be a specific quarantine that happens via HR or the EHS department. So what I'm showing here is a true case study that was implemented in a short period of time, very quickly, with a turnkey approach from the hardware to the analytics software that Jacques will be showing you here in a minute. And it allows for the key features needed to be usable and improve the usability of the product. So facial recognition, mask detection, vital screening, the integration with the turnstile to open the factory door and allow the employee in without the need to use your card. And also the integration to HR and payroll system, which is key. At the moment, in many organizations, this is completely disconnected. But if you are using an ERP or a Kronos type of system, that information would flow automatically to inform the HR and payroll system to basically move forward and pay that employee, or if there's a quarantine, then it would not happen, right? This entire process occurs in seconds with a very affordable and accelerated timeline for implementation. In addition to this, there is the software piece of it, right? Wellness AI is built for HR and the EHS departments to ensure that they could track employee well-being. And Jacques, thank you for being with us today to kind of tell the story of Wellness AI.
Thank you, Mo. Looking forward to it. When you think about the current pandemic and the future of a post-pandemic, post-vaccination world, if you will, employers are having to balance the risk, health, cost, and productivity, right? Managing employee wellness while making sure you have productivity. So there are various options. A lot of the people we know, we've interviewed and then spoken with, they're doing a combination of more than at least guidelines and processes, right? If you look at the bottom left, if you will, wherein you publish guidelines, you do some paper forms, and then they do manual temp check and all of that. What we have are the options wherein you're automating some of these efforts to improve confidence while managing productivity by a combination of hardware. If you look at the standard offering, which comes with a kiosk and an app, if mobile apps are an option. In some places they are not, we understand, because some of these manufacturing facilities, they are in rural areas, and some of the workers don't have phones, right? So the solution allows for that possibility. Now, and there are some sophisticated facilities wherein we're talking about Wellness AI Advanced, the far right, if you will, wherein everything is monitored. We have uh, a simplified wearable technology that can be used by workers, employees, that tracks proximity, that tracks continuously temperature and respiration rate, and these are key metrics with related to COVID. And then you combine that with CCTV cameras and other tech, you can definitely make it a sophisticated solution that balances health related safety, risk, and productivity. So we packaged it, made it easy to deploy a solution. So it's all about, one of the challenges is that while you know what you have to do, there are different levels of calibration, different plants, different geography, states. There are government policies you have to abide by, and there are internal policies you wanna implement, and you cannot have one size fits all. So depending on what is happening in the field, the system is set up so that you can do targeted interventions, depending on either a location, a site, or just a zone in a site. You shut down for cleaning because there's been a little bit more activity, and if there is a reported case, automated contact tracing. And then at a broadly, you want to kind of, hey, what's been the productivity? What's been reported exposure, reported cases? What's the right decision with regards to either modifying the shift or maybe a temporary closure? etc. So those are all given at a granular level for site leaders and executive management. So to kind of play back, right? Today, manufacturers, they are up and running. They're doing a set of manual processes, which is, labor, there's labor costs involved. And there's doing it all in a way that it is broad brush decisioning. Either you're playing it too safe or you're being reactive. So with Wellness AI, we have automated a lot of these. Data capture and decision making is granular. There are recommendations that can be acted upon. So that way, right level of intervention at the right time, at the right place. And all of this in a very secured PII compliant solution. So personal information is fully secure and there's no risk of personal data. That's Wellness AI. So if you were to kind of open the hood a little bit and then look into what are the components, the components are the data capture components, wherein you have the kiosk with displays and that's capturing temperature and face mask and all of that. There could be a wearable if needed, depending on the advanced solution versus a standard solution. And then wherever possible, there's a mobile app to do ongoing surveys and check-ins. If not, there are other digital form of surveys to capture that. And then we have APIs to manage contact tracing if there's a case that is reported. And then all of this in a very secure data cloud that is HIPAA and GDPR compliance, wherein all PII is encrypted with two-factor authentication if someone's going to have to look at the PII data. That's an important key aspect of the solution. All of this gets rolled into a site and management dashboard that gives executive level or site level targeted insights and recommendations for measurement and action and outcome. If you think about the implementation and the layers of technology, there are the set of on the far left, you have the data collection. What are the ways we are able to collect? I mean, all of this kind of leads into the actionable insights and decisions. So we spoke about sensors, kiosks, wearables, and surveys and apps. They're all the data collection. And then there is the storage in a very secure manner. And then we have the analytics layer, which adds in the intelligence because data by itself is not good enough. You have to be able to take the data and then make decisions using that. And those decisions and insights that are available across the multiple interfaces, whether it's web or mobile or embedded into business processes. This case study that Mo mentioned earlier, we connected it to Outlook email. We connected it into HR. We connected it into time systems so that it's available, integrated in regular day-to-day decision-making systems for the outcome you care about, which is a balanced employee well-being and productivity by means of policy and decision making and business insights. A key part of the solution is the PII data management and user consent framework. We as a team, we built multiple loyalty marketing, card payments and the card management, PCI, population management, HIPAA related solutions. So we brought that decade plus experience in user data management, user consent management. So this solution comes with an inbuilt user consent framework wherein users have the option to decide to only participate at an anonymized data level versus individually identifiable data for emergency uses, contact tracing uses alone. So this gives confidence both for the users and for the management that there is no risk or exposure with regards to PII data, and there's also that guarantee of no monetization. A little bit of a drill down into the data privacy security part of it. This is another key aspect of the solution that we get asked all the time. The At the core of it, security privacy is built in. It's not an afterthought, right? So every feature of the product, depending on if it's a data capture or not, only where it's required, personally identifiable information is being used. Anytime we touch personally identifiable information, it is two-factor authenticated, and that is fully encrypted in store, in transmit, so that there's no risk of PII exposure. And then all APIs integrations are tokenized to prevent from unauthorized data pulls. So this is part of the confidence in the data security piece of the solution, if you will. The dashboards piece, which Sachin's going to demonstrate in a little bit, there are the management dashboard, which has got employee level risk management, right? Health risk at an employee level. And then there are the any violations related to proximity or whatnot, right? That's all part of the employee 360 aspect of the solution. And if there is a risk or an exposure or a reported COVID positive test, automated contact tracing, all of that, Sachin will briefly demonstrate as part of this next session of the webinar, if you will. Then there is the executive portion of the dashboard, which has got an overall business level metrics and trends and insights. So a set of visuals, metrics, KPIs for business operations, a set that is at a unit or a plant level. And there is a reset of business metrics, if you will, in the during pandemic and post-pandemic, right? The costs have gone up a little bit, especially cost of cleaning. And then the productivity metrics are a little different. Employee satisfaction metrics are a little different. An ongoing way of monitoring and improving these KPI metrics is built into the solution. So Sachin, over to you to share a demo of the solution.
Thank you, Tiag. Let me go ahead and share my screen here quickly. And while I'm sharing my screen, just a quick reminder that Cindy has put out a chat questionnaire saying if anybody has any questions during the demo, feel free to drop a question in there. She's going to collate those questions and we'll try to take those questions at the end of the demo. Both Mo and Tiag alluded to the fact that we are collecting data related to the employees, the locations. Obviously, most of you manufacturing folks are operating in operations which have more than one location. We measure those outcomes and we look at what contact tracing is going on, if that's an optional feature. Also, the AI by itself recommends intervention strategies. So let's take a quick look at each one of those very briefly. Let's start with the employees. That's where the data collection starts. Employees walk in, they get their temperature recorded as Mo showed you in the video demonstration. What happens here is all this employee data is collated. What is the temperature that they walked in? What is the average temperature per plant, et cetera, et cetera. You can go through and look at, let's say, a week's or 2 weeks data for a particular employee. And you can see, and this is a demo data, obviously, when your employees walk in, there'll be many more records. But it shows you over a period of time what is happening with this employee. Was this employee at any risk at any point of time? You can drill down further and look at location-wise data as well. In our demo database, we have set up 5 different sites for this particular manufacturer. And you can drill down and see what's going on at different locations. Setting up the locations itself, you can look at a very high level on what's going on as to how many employees were actually recorded in the system, as well as how many passed through the system with healthy vitals. If there was any problems, those will be tracked and flagged out here, which leads us to the fact that, hey, what's going on at a certain location? Is there a certain risk which is higher? In the demonstration, you saw that an employee walked in, got her temperature taken, put on a mask, and then was allowed to go through the turnstile. How many people tried to walk by without wearing a mask? How many were symptomatic? How many interventions were required by the local HSNA, the health safety department, or the HR, or any medical personnel and stuff? So all this data is tracked. You get to see it in a particular dashboard. More importantly, all of that then comes into a dashboard where you can see what's going on, and you can always drill down to a particular location, as we showed you before, and see if at a particular site, is there something going wrong? Is there a site at higher risk? Is there something I need to mitigate? It's not about not just having a few employees isolated. Is there something I need to do from an operations point of view? Do I need to shift capacity to a different site? Do I need to alert my top management that, hey, this site is at a risk of closure because of, and I need to take some action to protect our operations. This one is also about contact tracing. This is an optional feature which you may choose to deploy. And what we do here is figure out if an employee, and Tiag spoke about anonymizing the data. So here you see the employee name, and names have been hidden. What you can do, however, is click on a particular employee and figure out what the level of infection or the level of risk that this particular employee faced. Who was this employee associated with? What was the level of association? Was it a first order association? Was it a second degree association? Based on the date that this particular exposure occurred, what is the risk that we foresee? Do we need to get the employee aside and tell them that, hey, you have been exposed and this is the remedial actions that you need to take? Or, hey, this was only a third level, we have already isolated the other two. The second level has already taken a test and you are in the clean because the second level did not get infected. So all of these actions, which can be driven by data that we have captured, are easily made available to you. And most importantly, at the end of the day, if someone is at the corporate sitting and taking a top level view, it's not just the data that is collected and displayed back to you in reports, but what is the recommendations that the software would like to say, would like to give you. Obviously, you would like to make recommendations like, and this can be tailored to your particular, if there's something very unique to your situation, we can add those recommendations and the AI would learn and give those information back to you as well. So here are a few recommendations that have been outlined in this particular application. But like I said, we can drill down and see what's happening, where is it happening, and what are the action that we need to take.
So this solution is built while we focused a lot around the pandemic. It really built for a future wherein we're going to coexist with not just pandemic or not just COVID. There's going to be variations of this, potential flu and other outbreaks management. But really, if you look at it, this is an opportunity for us to get into just employee wellness per se. There's been a lot of cycles put into employee productivity. This COVID, we see, and there are trends. Even recently, the Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, he had communicated that investments into employee wellness related solutions will increase multifold going forward, because the manufacturers and other businesses, well, done a lot of work around productivity improvement. They're going to have to manage health, well-being, and other aspects along with the productivity. So all the activity with regards to data capture that is being done for COVID management can help in automating other easier experience elements like time and attendance automation that reduces burden on HR and reduces burden on workers. Security aspect of it, And then an audits, compliance, these kind of data can improve and streamline compliance audits, and also just a system of this sorts, which is helping employee with health and COVID-related communications, can be used on an ongoing basis for other broader corporate communications, just targeted based on employee role, employee tenure, employee behavioral characteristics, and all of that. There is an opportunity for personalized messaging, personalized communication to improve the brand and relationship between employee and the company.
There are 3 packages or bundles to implement the solution today. And most of our clients start with the standard option. And the standard option is capturing data via an app or via a kiosk that's usually at the entrance of the facility. Multiple data sources include personnel health information from the questionnaire data, and the temperature data as well. And as I have mentioned in the case study earlier, this usually takes a few seconds per employee to ensure that basically safe and healthy employees enter the facility. So that provides the employee 360 and location 360 analytics that were demoed by Sachin. As a growth towards future requirements, within the facility, the mobile app or kiosks within the plant can also be used to activate contact tracing with extreme privacy, of course, and certified via HIPAA and GDPR and so on and so forth. So that brings the safety and well-being element within the factory to actually do contact tracing within the factory. Last but not least, a handful of clients are also interested to use their existing hardware, including cameras and other devices that are within the plant, to use the platform of the solution to offer more value, right? Which goes into the kind of beyond the pandemic scenarios that Chirag mentioned around security, quality and safety, and basically environmental health and safety type of advanced scenarios. So standard, enhanced, and advanced. And with the standard option, the use of the app and the kiosks basically allows for accelerated implementations. So we're talking weeks to be able to implement the solution, days and weeks within the facility. So in closing, and also allowing for some questions, we had set this webinar to be for about 45 minutes, which will allow us questions from the audience. But in closing, as Chirag mentioned, expectations are that there are multi-fold investments that are going to happen to use these types of solutions for improved well-being of employees. We always talk about connected assets, we talk about connected products using analytics, but also connected workers, right? And enhancing the workers' safety, health, and well-being within the facility is becoming a major focus today. And solutions like Wellness AI can be implemented rapidly, affordably, and provide measured outcomes using analytics in a secure fashion to organizations today, manufacturers and non-manufacturers, right? And allow for significant ROI to the employees' health and well-being. I mean, let's face it, improving people's health and well-being is immediately proportional to improving safety's productivity and employee satisfaction and client satisfaction. We have a 3-step approach to partner with our clients today. We start at the bottom here. We start with a discovery, 30 to 60 minutes, and a visit to the plant to understand their needs. This goes towards an accelerated pilot where we could ship kiosks or use the mobile apps and actually get a solution running in a few days, at the most a month, hosted in a very secure infrastructure or hosted by the client. And then the solution is a subscription-based solution that could actually be scaled by the client. You can actually, with training, scale the solution yourself to multiple operations or supported by our team. So I want to thank Chirag for talking about the technology. I want to thank Sachin for demonstrating the technology. I want to thank the audience for giving us the time. And Cindy, we have 10 minutes or so for questions.
Great, thanks, Mo. We do have a few different questions here. Several kind of around the contact tracing. So I'm not sure if Mo, you or Tiag want to take it. Can you go into a little bit more about how contact tracing works? Do you have to use it on the workers' mobile phones? And then, you know, the clients that are currently using Wellness AI, are more of them using the mobile app or the kiosk?
So I'll kind of answer it in a two-part question way. I mean, it is sort of a two-part question. So contact tracing per se, the efficacy of contact tracing depends on the technology that is used to do data capture of proximity, right? If we have a mobile app or a wearable, then it is super effective, as in we can leverage proximity data uh, to determine uh, the employees, the workers who came to proximity for 10-15 minute period um, with the positive reported employee or worker. And it's automatically, it's got a list. And then as soon as we have a reported positive, there's notification for everyone who came, who might have gotten exposed, right? Now, let's say there is no mobile app or a wearable. Now we're dealing with schedule and zoning of employees. So it won't be a specific targeted list. It'll be a little broader list of employees and workers who were um, scheduled to be there in a specific zone within proximity of the reported employee. So you don't have to have an app or a wearable. An app or a wearable just makes it that much more, let's call it a precision contact tracing. If an app on wearable doesn't exist, then it's a little more broader contact tracing, wherein a combination of who was there at a zone during the time period, and then you add in with the survey as to, hey, you know, how long did you hang out with this person, et cetera, to make it a little more effective. That's part one. The second part, if you will, you asked around, you know, what are they using? Kiosk, yes, people you know, are using kiosks as a quick incremental automated way of check, entry point check, exit point check. Um, there are a few customers who are exploring the wearable option. You know, it is a little more of an investment to track individual workers, and it is a combination of, hey, how long are we going to have this? It cannot be just for a pandemic. It needs to be a little bit more than a pandemic. So we have some pilots that are being discussed that is considering the wearable option. Apps are being used wherever it's practical. Cindy, hope that helps.
Great, thanks, Tiag. Another question, Mo, I'll let you take this one. How many other clients are currently using Wellness AI? Are they all manufacturing plants, or do you have clients from other industries as well?
Actually, a variety of industries is very applicable to the solution. You know, since IoTco focuses on manufacturing, we've focused in that sector, but we've seen growing needs in the education space, for example, educational institutions, as the flood of students are coming back for you know, in-person sessions. We've also seen interest in governmental type of organizations and retail. I also want to say, and Tiag, you can add to this, but the you know, the core of the platform is actually I think it's called VLOX, and it actually has multiple years of history in industry, being used not to track humans but to track cattle. Correct? In the animal wellness space.
That is that part too. The wearable part of it we transferred from tracking livestock for healthier food. And I mean, it wasn't built for pandemic human tracking management, but we were just able to transfer the technology to make it available. And to your point, we see implementations in not just manufacturers, real estate, for site management, entry exit management, and education, like you rightfully said. So.
Great. I think we have time for one more question. And there are two different questions around the privacy and security measures of the platform. Basically, how can manufacturers who purchase the solution ensure their employees' information is protected and that the solution is secure?
It is, and it's a matter of verification of the implementation methodology. So what we've done when we've onboarded customers, we've kind of walked them through the architecture, walked them through the database, the encryption protocols, and all of that. And then there are continuously generated audit logs that can be used to verify an ongoing verification of the architecture and the solution.
And we also have a quick chat that says some of the industries we talked about, Chirag, I think healthcare would also be a very interesting area for implementation. Yeah,
that is correct. That's correct.
Obviously, yes. There was a question I'm just trying to read and understand a bit. It says they want to know more about the symptoms tracking, how it works, and how to deal with it further. So, I assume that's contact tracing. Go ahead.
It's maybe the attendee is, so there is a little bit of healthcare, post-vaccine symptom tracking, or even just COVID symptom tracking. The mobile app per se has those employee worker engagement screens, wherein pre and post and during there are surveys to say, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? What are the symptoms? So that way, you get referred into a healthcare provider, healthcare facility. That is there in the mobile app part of the solution. If typically at this time, it's really not the employer's responsibility. It goes into the employee's responsibility to take care of their own health. But that feature is available in the mobile app.
Just wanted to say thanks again to Mo, Tiag, and Sachin for leading our discussion today. Really appreciate all of you taking the time to join us. We will follow up in the next few days with an email with a recording of the webinar. So please feel free to share that with your coworkers and other members of your team. Our contact information will be included in the email. So feel free to reach out to us and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks again for joining us today, and we hope you all have a really great day.
Stay safe, stay healthy, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.